Hello everyone, named Jaleesa, JJ Mutiso, Shash Game Views, everybody, and I want to give you my top 6 James Bond actors portrays of James Bond. Basically, the 6 actors who played James Bond, I'm going to rank them all, from worst to best. And here's the thing, this is my opinion, so respect my opinion, I respect yours. So, again, this is based upon how they played the character James Bond, not overall their acting, okay? They could be pretty dang good actors, they could be pretty great actors, but are they the James Bond that we know and love, or to me the best portrayals? This is from the worst to the best, and the worst is obviously George Lazenby. The only problem with Of Her Majesty's Secret Service from being the best James Bond film is the Bond. George Lazenby, I've only seen his work in this film, and I cannot stand him as James Bond. Every single time he talks, he doesn't feel like James Bond at all. When you compare him to Sean Connery, he's no good. When you think of James Bond, what do you think of? Suave, smart, sophisticated, a real gentleman. But George Lazenby, you didn't get that shit. I swear, George Lazenby just didn't feel like a James Bond to me. He's my worst. He's the only James Bond actor who played James Bond that I do not like. I do not like his portrayal at all. He did an okay job, that was it, but I do not love him like everybody. I do not love him. I'm just not a fan of George Lazenby. That's it. He's down the bottom. That's it for him. Number 6. Number 5 is Pierce Brosnan. Now here's the thing. I grew up with the Pierce Brosnan era, and I enjoy Pierce Brosnan as an actor. One of my favorite movies of all time is with him in The Matador. That's his own movie, along with that other actor that he's portrayed with. And I'm a big fan of Pierce Brosnan. He's one of my favorite actors. But to me, he's not a James Bond. He's not the perfect James Bond. He's a good James Bond. The thing is, though, with Pierce Brosnan, he's too much of a pretty boy. That's basically it. He's too good looking to be a James Bond. I mean, he's swabby, smart, sophisticated. Yeah, we got all that techniques, but to me, he wasn't. He didn't have these moments that made me feel like, man, he is the most epic Bond I've ever seen. To me, he's a good Bond. To me, he's a good action-packed Bond, and I enjoy Pierce Brosnan actor. I enjoy him as an actor. But he's not my favorite portrayal of James Bond, not by a long shot. At the beginning when I was younger, I'm like, oh, he's my 3rd favorite. He's always be number 3. But now, I look at Andrew, his films, he didn't have these moments of shine, these moments to express certain characteristics of his character. Besides, there was no darker Bond officially with me to him. So out of that, I will give him number 5 on the list. So yeah, Pierce Brosnan, number 5. I don't know why I blinked out. Number 4 is none other than Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton in 2 movies proved to me that he was a good James Bond. The fact that he didn't get to play James Bond for another time was really sad, because I enjoyed Living Daylights. I think The Living Daylights is an underrated film. I enjoy License to Kill. License to Kill is one of my favorite Bond films of all time. Timothy Dalton brought a great thing. The only problem with Timothy Dalton, he's not a pretty boy, but he has this sophistication about him. He has a charm about him, but he's not... And he has this dark, edgy tone with him, which I love. But he wasn't a perfect Bond to me. But he's number 4. I enjoy him. Check out Timothy Dalton. He actually does a good portrayal of James Bond, in my opinion. My 3rd favorite. And I respect this actor so much for how he portrayed James Bond, is Roger fucking Moore. Roger Moore is awesome as James Bond. I loved him. The reason why I'm not a big, why he's not number 1 is because physically, he doesn't feel like an intimidating threat. He's charming, he has this little stuff, like all that stuff with James Bond, except he doesn't feel as a threat to me. When I look at him, I don't really feel as scared, like, man, that guy's, if he was a secret agent, man, that guy's intimidating me. He's very intimidating looking. No, to me, Roger Moore's James Bond never had an intimidating look, but here's the thing with Roger Moore. Even through all his films, since The View to a Kill, he always gave a great portrayal of James Bond. Here's the thing. I love Sean Connery. Sean Connery, later on in his film, you could tell he didn't want to be a part of these films, and who could blame him in some cases, compared to the script they gave him. What the fuck. But Roger Moore always brought his A game, and I love that fact. My God, he was great. Number 3. Just not my favorite. Tremendous respect for him, though. My 2nd favorite. Everyone's going to hate me for not being number 1, but it is still Daniel Craig. After I seen the film Spectre, if he makes one more James Bond film, maybe I'll put him at number one. But he was so great, Daniel Craig, as James Bond in Casino Royale. He was great in Skyfall. He was great in Spectre. Quantum of Solace, we'll just skip that portrayal. But, he did a great job. It's just the script. But Daniel Craig brought such a ferocity at James Bond. He was dark. He was smart. He was witty. He was charming. The physicality was there, the darkness was there, the charm was there, the seductiveness was there, and I loved it. There's never been such a strong portrayal of James Bond compared to my number one favorite, and it always will be fucking Sean Connery. But here's the thing: if Daniel Craig was first James Bond, then Sean Connery came in later. Let's say it's different times they did it, then more likely Daniel Craig would be first, because these two actors, Sean Connery and Daniel Craig, portrayed James Bond so fucking well that they are simply amazing at what they do. With Sean Connery, James Bond, you get the same thing with Daniel Craig. You see the physicality. You see how he looks. He looks intimidating. He's swabby. He's sophisticated. He's smart. Everything is great or portraying between these two people, those two actors, and their portrayals. And the only reason why I probably put it higher because he was the first one. And I saw him, I saw Pierce Brosnan first. Sean Connery stole the show from me as James Bond when I first saw him. And since he was the first Bond, I had tremendous respect for him. And easily is my favorite James Bond still. But Daniel Craig, my God, these two portrayals of James Bond, Daniel Craig and Sean Connery, is just amazing. This entire portrayals of all these actors of being James Bond, I love them. I love the James Bond franchise. There are some films I'm not a big fan of, but you see my top 24 James Bond films. But overall, an amazing portrayals of Daniel Craig, James Bond, and Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton. I'm enjoying Pierce Brosnan, George Lazenby. I just don't like his acting, and that's why. But overall, that's my ranking of all the James Bond actors to portray James Bond, and top 6 James Bond. That's why I'm going to do this video. So respect my opinion. I respect yours. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. And what can I say, everyone? My name's Lee. Signing off, everyone. Good day, everybody. Bye.